Where's your Jaffa cakes? Jaffa cakes out and all sorts.
Well, you know, they couldn't do that without me, is it? I don't pay my rent, you know what I mean? So, no, I was good. I was well up for this, actually. It was a crazy idea in the beginning, but Camden right. All those early days of things that happened that people like me came from. So somewhere like that I think deserves one as well.
And in terms of artists, who are you going
there's so many different artists. I guess undoubtedly Amy's got to get one, isn't she? You know?
Delicious. Anyway, good afternoon, good people of music. I am Phil Alexander, and as someone who has worked in Camden and lived in Camden for a lot of my life, I'm really delighted and honoured to be here for what is the first step on the music walk of fame, if you will. Terrible pun. I'm going to just talk about a bit of the heritage that Camden really represents to me. I spent an inordinate amount of time just around, obviously, Dingwalls and the Roundhouse to the north, Cocoa to the south, Cecil Sharp House up that way, of course, the bedrock of folk music, as it were. There's the Jazz Cafe, there's a whole load of them, there's loads I'm forgetting as well. I have to mention the Underworld, because I think I lived in there between 1989 to about 1985, and I'm only just resurfacing the world right now, and that's why today is actually important. So I'm glad we're all here celebrating the place.
That was the wrong speech, it was a reserve site. Sorry. Hi everyone, thanks for coming out. It means so much that you have come to see. Trust me when I say that no one area in the world has the history that Camden does by starting and nurturing so many scenes, being a rites of passage.
CB.
Well, it can only happen right here in Camden in my end. So it's something that I'm very proud of, and as a neighbour, congratulations Lee, finally, this has happened. And remember, places like this is where I had my start many moons ago, so I'm looking forward to my stone. Thank you very much.
Soul to soul, the second stone, it's official. Yes, I think you're going to unveil that stone. Now, while we take a short break here, what we're going to do is, well, we're going to unveil the stone first. I think we should possibly start welcoming the choir down the carpet, actually, just so that they can get into position. Gentlemen, though, start with the stone. Rehearsing just earlier actually, and they are absolutely mind-blowing. From Haverstock Hill School, it is the Haverstock Rap Club, ladies and gentlemen.
Chris Edwards.
Hey, mate, how are you? Yeah, good to see you. Hey, okay.
Thanks for coming.
Good here, isn't it?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on, and I think the time has come now to really unveil the next stone, of course. And the stone, as you can tell, goes to, well, one of the greatest British acts of all time, simple as that. I believe their first major appearance in the People's Republic of Camden stems back to a New Year's Eve bash that took place at the Roundhouse in 1966, although I could be wrong. But to tell us a bit more about the recipients, please welcome to the stage a man who himself recorded at least one track from an era-defining album in Camden. That album, of course, was Screamadelica, from the mighty primal scream. He is none other than Mr. Bobby Gillespie, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say thanks and respect to Jazzy B and the Soul Soul Beat, without whom Primal Scream might never ever have had a career. Okay, here goes. I first heard The Who on the radio when I was about 15, when Squeezebox and Substitute were in the charts. I didn't know it at the time, but Substitute was an old song from the 1960s. I love both songs, with Substitute being a particularly obsessive favourite. I bought The Story of The Who, a double album retrospective with an exploding pinball machine in the cover. Story of The Who was one of the first albums that I ever bought with my own money, Stupidity by Dr. Feelgood being another. I was beginning my journey into the world of rock and roll and didn't have much of a frame of reference. There was a guy called Stephen Butcher who lived across the road from me. I played football in the park with him. He was a tough kid, great player too. One day I was over at his house hanging out and I noticed he had some albums by The Who. I asked him if I could borrow them. He said yes. Those albums were Who's Next, Live at Leeds, Meaty Beaty, Big and Bouncy. Live at Leeds had the wonderful Maxim R&B poster with Pete Townsend wielding his Rickenbacker guitar like a weapon. So fucking cool. It also had all the paraphernalia of the early gigs at the Station Hotel in Richmond and damaged equipment repair receipts. Promo photographs too. It was a portal into the glamorous world of rock and roll I wanted in. I went to see the Kids Are Alright movie when it was released in 1979, and to see the unforgettable opening scene of The Who performing My Generation and the Smothers Brothers US TV show with Pete windmilling and smashes his guitar into his Vox amps and Keith Moon blowing the popper set up with hidden explosives behind his drum kit was proof that these guys were punk before, actually, sorry, fucked us up. Sorry. All right. So, okay, it was I'll go back to the bit about having The Who live at Leeds, right? I borrowed and looking at the paraphernalia inside, getting into music about 1976, early 77. Then punk rock happened and it detonated a cultural bomb in my teenage consciousness. Suddenly there was all these new contemporary high energy rock and roll bands releasing exciting life-changing records like God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols, Complete Control by the Clash, In the City by the Jam, Your Generation by Generation X. I didn't realise it at the time, but all of the above groups were totally influenced by The Who. The Pistols even covered Substitute live. I went to see the Kids Are Alright movie when it was released in 1979, and to see the unforgettable opening scene of The Who performing My Generation on the Smothers Brothers American TV show with Pete windmilling and smashing his guitar into his Vox amps, Keith Moon blowing the pop art set up with hidden explosives behind his drum kit was proof that these guys were punk before punk. despite their mod roots, which were informed and sharpened by mod visionary Peter Meaden, whose legendary description of mod life was clean living under difficult circumstances. A maxim that any rock and roll outsider kid can relate to. I'd like to add another thing that attracted me to The Who's music and Pete's songwriting, especially in the 1960s, was a feeling of androgyny. Like the Stones, they also went through a period of wearing makeup and wearing Regency jackets, frilly blouses, and projecting a certain campness, whilst playing the hardest, most frenetic, slashing, power-chorded, high-energy rock and roll imaginable. That duality is the essence of true rock and roll. The original lineup of Roger Daltrey, Keith Moon, John Entwistle and Pete Townsend was indivisible. When they played music together, an alchemical transformation took place. Four became one, and they created a magical, powerful sound that spoke directly to teenage mod boys blocked on black bombers, radical hippie 1960s counterculture, acid freaks, boot boys running riot on the football terraces of the 1970s, and teenage punk rockers like myself and many millions more around the world. We are all moved by these songs of frustration, rage, revolution, spirituality, cross-dressing, sexual confusion and love. Songs of isolation and communal joy. I witnessed The Who at Wembley this summer. Roger is one of the great rock and roll vocalists. I challenge anyone to sing those songs as hard and as powerful and with as much feeling as he does. For 2.5 hours every night. Younger men would shatter and break. They don't have the chops, history, or stamina, or talent. He's a one-off, irreplaceable. Pete Townsend gave a masterclass in rock and roll guitar playing, all colour, rhythm, and stinging leads, all played with deadly precision. It was fucking unreal. My good friend Zach Starkey was on drums that night and is maybe the only person in the world who can sit behind Keith Moon's drum kit and belong there. They were magnificent. As a lifelong Who freak, it's an honour to announce that the first stone on the Music Hall of Fame is for The Who.
Something.
Not that one, the other one.
Rolling one.
Is that it?
This is it. That's it. Guys,
Can we walk on it?
we'll do a quarter each, guys.
Roger, go the far side. The other side, go on the other side. Roger, can you go down next to Pete? Roger, go down next to Pete. Go, guys, this side, this way. That's the one. There you go. Take it straight ahead, guys, straight ahead. Pete, look out, stay forward. And again, gentlemen. Hey, Roger. Roger. Guys, come back, dude! Fucking hell. How many times you got to tell you? Okay, fellas, just go straight ahead! This way, guys! Straight forwards! Guys, just stay straight ahead, please. Roger, just stay this way.
Roger, this is one for you. We've got one for Johnny.
Please hold on. You've got to come back. You can't lean forward.
Chris Entwistle, everyone. John Entwistle's son.
Hold it up, hold it up. There you go. Lovely, thank you. Where's Roger? Lee, get Roger in, get Roger in.
We get a thing.
Roger. One of them.
Okay, straight ahead, guys.
That's great, thank you.
Fellas, just guys this way if you could.
Roger. Roger, this way, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and Pete, ready? Pete!
Oh, I'm in the
It's like you're going in for an operation and you're at Piccadilly Tube Station in Russia.
I'm ready whenever you want to go. I'm recording.
Are we going?
It's like,
Let's go.
but they are good at what they do. But we're on.
What does it mean to you to be the first recipient of the Stone on the Walk of Fame?
I'm honoured. I mean, it's great that it was voted for, so that's great.
Yeah, me too, and I think it's a great idea. I think, you know, we actually turned down the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Well, I did. I didn't want to do it. I think John Eccleston was a bit unhappy, but, you know, I think this is great for us, great for London. Good idea. And the press attention is incredible.
What does it mean to you then? If you turned down the Hollywood one, why did you want to stay?
Well, because it's London. Yeah, we're in London. We were always very, very proud of where we came from. Shepherd's Bush, London, you know. It means a lot to us, and it meant a lot for me, and the drive that I had in my life to do what I did. And I know what it meant to Pete, you know, in his writing of the songs.
You know, for me, the London audience has been my guide. You know, they've been my client, they've been my patron. You know, I've tried to write everything for that audience, and it was so moving to hear Bobby Gillespie from Primal Scream, my favourite crush at the moment. I've been listening to them so much, I just think they're so great and so undervalued and underestimated. Maybe that's not true, maybe they're not, but I've neglected them for too long. I'll come back to them this month, and I've been listening to everything. I just love them. It's such a joy that I didn't know he was going to be doing that. But everything that he said about, you know, the songs that I've written for the audience, it's all been for a London, a West London, you know, a London audience, and it's very clear that, you know, the big word that jumps out there is spiritual. You know, all of those other things, the anger, the disaffection, the disenfranchisement, you know, all of that punk rock stuff at the bottom of it all. Even in punk rock, you saw a spiritual yearning, and I think that's something that's, as a musician, it's nice to deal with.
You've got a new album coming out imminently. What plans for that?
A good one. It's really good. I'm really pleased to say, having been sceptical that we could ever produce a good album at this age, it is a really good album. Pete's written some fantastic songs, and it's still got that Who energy, and it sounds great.
Roger's nailed the vocals. I mean, they're just superb. It's, you know, it was all done really quite quickly. We could have put it out in June. In fact, it's been ready for a long time, but I think we wanted to sell it to Christmas granddads. But anyway, I'm really proud of it. So, you know, I'm just pleased with it. I didn't want to write a Who album. I wanted to write songs that Roger could get inside and feel. And you know, he was skeptical, but for the right reasons. I think, you know, the thing about writing songs for a Who album is none of us really know what the Who should be doing these days. You know, we know we can play the old songs and we know we can do them in different ways, but this is an album of songs which are for people that have followed us all our life, but hopefully also for people who want to know how people of our age think about the world today and how we feel about things. So I'm really proud of it.
Ball and Chain is kind of a topical song. Is there anything else on the album that's going to address current or recent?
You know, there's a song called Street Song, which was inspired by the fact I knew 4 people that personally, through my family and through other friends, that were involved in the Grenfell Tower fire. It's not a song about Grenfell Towers exactly, but it's certainly better than the Simon Cowell charity single he popped out for whatever reason, although Stormzy was great on that. But I think that the song is about the fact that the streets, just where everybody ended up on the streets, you know, all of those people that gave clothes, for example, there were piles and piles and piles of clothes. None of them were outsize. Do you know that? None of the clothes that were given were outsize, and a lot of people are fat. Outsize, sorry, a lot of people are outsize, not fat. And there were no suitcases to take, so I bought 200 suitcases, and some guy came in a van and took them all down to Portobello Market, I think. that's the neighbourhoods, it's the streets, and it's where we came from, and it's what kind of guides all really good modern pop music is the streets. You know, whether it's hip hop, whether it's rock and roll, whether it's pop.
I have just one final question quickly. The voice up. Are you going to be all right for the tour?
Every time you have it, you know, I've got a precancerous condition and it grows back. So every time I have it done, it's kind of. But so far. Okay.
Good luck and congratulations for today.
Thanks very much. Did you do mine? Did you do mine?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's multiple.